Am Beautifully Broken. I'm your host, Lamekkiona. On this show, we talk about purpose, evolving, and growing. Today, we have a special guest by the name of H.E.R. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Are you excited for this interview?
I am. Is this the real thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to debrief first?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was a test shot, so we were
Oh,
good.
yeah, we good.
Okay, great.
So I just want to talk a little bit about you. Like, what do you do? What, like, your occupation and what do you do basically?
All right. So my name is H.E.R. Taylor, and I am from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I'm located here in Atlanta. But as far as my occupation, I'm in the mental health field. So I work for the Atlanta VA Medical Center as a mental health professional. I work with substance abuse.
Okay. And then I know that you just started your business. What is it called, by the way?
It's called H.E.R. Healed Elevated Refresh. It's a women empowerment brand. We focus on mental health awareness, entrepreneurship, and community service.
Yes, I love that. Y'all know we love supporting Black women. We love to engage with what Black women have to do, and serve. I just love your business. And also, I know that you just had your first event.
Yes, we did. We had our first event December 17th. It was a vision board brunch. We had over 100 plus attendees.
Yes.
We did over 200 bags of toiletries. As far as community service goes, we gave it back to the Atlanta Hope Mission. We collected toiletry items for both men and females. It was over 200 bags, and that was just a start. So we're excited about where we're headed. We do have an Instagram page, H.E.R. by H.E.R. Taylor. That's where you can follow our upcoming events. You can donate to us as well as follow our lives, because we do live segments every week as well.
Yes, what day is that on?
So our first segment is going to be February 1st at 6 p.m. We're going to be talking about real estate and home ownership and how that's a great asset or investment to have as a woman, as a man, African American, anybody can start with home ownership.
I love that. So I wanted to do an icebreaker with you.
Okay.
The icebreaker is just kind of going off like general questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
So the first one we'll both answer.
Okay, got you.
Would you rather live without internet or live without AC/heating?
Oh my goodness, I would rather live without internet. I cannot be hot. Oh no.
Me either.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Internet, you can get thrown out the water.
Yeah, bye.
You can get thrown out the window. I need
AC like real bad. Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, another question. If you could ask God one question, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. So I always have conversations with God all the time. And it's so many questions that I have for him. I don't know about one. My main question would be, am I within your will? Because I feel like if I'm aligned within his will for my life and I'm not straying away from his will, then everything else is going to come. Like my purpose, the promotion and increased finances, everything is going to come if I'm aligned with his will. I feel like when I start straying away, that's when I start being in shambles a little bit. So I just would ask, like, we good? Like, we here yet? Okay.
Ooh, that is a good one. When I saw this question, I was kind of like getting the questions together, and I was like, ooh, I'm asking this question, and I need to know for myself. I think I also have so many questions for God, but I think my main one is, am I living up to my full potential? Like, I know that God has been showing me like my purpose and like spikes and everything, but I just feel like, am I walking in your will? Like you said, am I walking in your will and your way? Like, am I going in the direction you need me to go right now? I think that's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not where I feel like he wants me to be as far as like who I'm supposed to be, but I feel like I'm becoming her.
Right. Yeah.
So that's as long as I'm becoming her, we ain't got no issues.
Right. We just taking it step by step, day by day. And last question, how often do you push yourself out of your comfort zone?
Oh man. This past couple of years, I've definitely pushed myself the most. Okay. I'm starting to do it more each day because I feel like I thrive outside of my comfort zone. I feel like we get very complacent, or we even get kind of nervous to become who we're supposed to be because comparison is the thief of joy. So what I used to do was look around and be like, oh my gosh, she just bought a house. She just bought a car. I'm living with my mom, or I'm doing this and third. And what I realized is like, I can't focus on what nobody is doing but myself. So how I push myself every day is, no matter if you don't like it, if I like it, I'm gonna go for it. Yeah. And no matter how big the dream is, or how far the goal is, I'm gonna go for it. That's how I push myself every single day. Just staying in my own lane. Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing for me too, is just staying in my lane and realizing that like I'm not like most people. I'm not like the average. I'm not saying like nobody is like they want to be average. I'm just saying the average who like will do things just because it's convenient. I'm getting out of convenience. Like I'm doing outside of my scope. I'm doing the things that I want to do. I'm doing what God told me I needed to be doing, instead of like feeling like you said, when I'm looking on social media and stuff, it's like I'm seeing this person buying a house, car, all that stuff, but I'm just like, that ain't in my willpower right now to be doing that. I just need to be focused on the purpose. I can't focus on how I'm gonna get that, I just really have to focus mainly on the purpose. The sole purpose is what I'm going for, not going towards what somebody else want me to do. I'm doing what I want to do.
For sure.
Oh, that was some real good questions.
Girl, yeah. Yes, it was.
So I know we talked a little bit about her at the beginning, but could you just elaborate a little bit more on what your brand stands for?
Her is Heal, Elevated, Refreshed, and let me just kind of tell you the backstory of her. So her was developed literally in my living room floor. I had like a vision. I'm like, man, her. I kept asking God to place a life-changing idea upon me that I act upon. Okay. And all I kept seeing was her. And then I kept seeing this thing on Instagram, like I'm going to walk in every room as her. Well, that's very much easier said than done when you don't feel like her. Right. So I am a mental health professional, and I deal with people in crisis on a daily basis. Right. But that does not mean that I don't go through things myself. So I was in a dark depression. I had major anxiety, and I was just not feeling like myself. And I had a moment where my thoughts had gotten the best of me, and I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to be here anymore. Yeah. So her was derived out of a place of wanting to feel like I belong, wanting to feel like I have a purpose, and basically putting my passion into action to let other women know that every day is not going to be a good day, but every day is not going to be a bad day. And a lot of times in the African American community, we feel like we have to cry in the dark. Yeah. We feel like we are so trained to be so strong that when we have a moment of weakness, we either don't know who to tell it to, how to say it, or even if it's worth saying. So her was just a place that I wanted to develop a community of women that are like-minded, that have goals, ambitions, and they have hurt and pain as well. So that we can come together, talk about how to become healed, elevated, and refreshed. What does that look like? Because my healed, elevated, refreshed, it may look way different than yours. Right. So it's basically just wanting to build a community of women where we talk about everyday life, everyday things. We have events of empowerment. We have live streams and things that will help you propel to the next level. So the real estate live is coming out. We're going to have another live about entrepreneurship, the ups, the downs, the pros, the cons. We're going to have webinars about relationships. What does that look like? Having a relationship with yourself, with God, with a man, you know? So it's basically a community of like-minded women coming together to talk about entrepreneurship, mental health awareness, and to give back. Because it's nothing like pouring into other people. That's so fulfilling to me. Yeah. So that's what it's about.
I love that. Like that, the message behind it is so strong. Like I really felt that. Like I was like,
real.
Hey, right there. It's real. I was like, yes, it's feeling refreshed, elevated. Like I felt all that, and I really want to say thank you for just bringing that out to the world, because I feel like that's why I wanted to highlight you, because I was like, how we met is like on Instagram. She had reached out to me. She was just like, she liked my purpose behind what I was doing, and I just really I'm like, girl, I like your purpose, what you doing. I'm just like, when you see like-minded people around you, it's just like it feels good. It feels good to know like it's so many women out there, like just seeing. I remember it was this trend going on. It kind of went down a little bit, but it was like the follow Black women train, and it was like the most empowering thing I ever seen on social media, because I was like, this was the first time I was actually seeing all Black women on my TL. I've never seen that. I was like, wait, what's going on? I'm following. I'm trying to look at businesses and stuff like that. And I'm just like, the exposure just that Black women don't get, and now that we're getting it, it's just like it feels so good to see that. And I'm just like, that's what I mean by elevated and refreshed. It's just like, yes, we're getting there. We're getting up there. So I just really want to say thank you, and I appreciate you for saying
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for responding to the DMs. Like, I think that's so important and special too, because a lot of times when we do break out our shell, it's scary because you don't know if like, are you gonna be nice to me? You know, so I appreciate that as well.
Of course.
Thank you.
So you kind of already went into the detail of what inspired you behind the brand, but I just wanted to elaborate on like, where do you see your business going in, like just even the next year?
In the next year, I really am excited about speaking this out loud, because that means you gotta do something about it. But in the next year, we're definitely, our empowerment event is annual. So I envision the next brunch being over 200 people. And we're gonna have even more speakers. I am envisioning literally like a community where, just like the Shade Room, you can go get tea. Well, when you come down to her page, you can go get inspiration. You can get resources and information. So in the next year, I really see our business, or my business, taking off in a way that we get recognition in Atlanta. I feel like that's important to make realistic goals. I want to get recognition in Atlanta and then branch off. So I'll be actually dropping some merch in the springtime. So that's exciting too, because I feel like it's nothing like repping your set. Okay, when you go in the airport and you see some H.E.R, they're gonna get to talking like, what's that? And then that's how we'll grow. So in the next year, I just see us taking over, honestly.
I love that. That's gonna look really good. Seeing myself with H.E.R on.
Like, what does that mean? And you can go into what H.E.R means to you, because it's different for everybody.
Okay, so I wanted to discuss, so we talked a little bit about your brunch, but how was the overall scope of it? How did you feel? Like, where were you feeling? What were your emotions?
Oh my God. First of all, being transparent, I thought that planning the brunch was going to be so stressful. And there was moments of stress. Like, I had one venue, I put the flyer out, that venue did not work out because it outgrew the venue. So I had to find another venue in the last moment. But overall, what I have found is that when you are aligned with God, when you want to be stressed, you can't be. So it was not a stressful process, believe it or not. Like I said, it was moments, because I'm a perfectionist and that's kind of like impossible. So it was moments of like, oh my goodness, anxiety that I caused upon myself. But it was a great process. It was a learning process. It's things that I know that I can do differently next year or in the coming months. But overall, it was a great experience. I was very emotional that day, because when you look out and see people come and support you, that's different. Like, people that you know and don't know. Like, some of these people that because I slid into your DMs, but I slid into a lot of people's DMs that showed up, and that was crazy to me. So I'm like, man, this is amazing. So I was very emotional to know that not only did these people show up, but my goal is actually attainable. Like, this vision that I have, or this vision that was given to me, it's really like working out. And that can be scary and overwhelming. You happy, you full of joy, and now you frightful because you're like, oh my God, what's next? I
definitely have felt like that, like what's next, especially like after I wrote my book and I came out with it, it was like, okay, go on to the next thing. And I was like, you got to take a moment. That was big. That was a big moment for you. And I think that just embracing how you feel is good. And then, like you said about how you thought the process would be more stressful, but God had his hand on it. So it's like anything that God got his hand on, you can't be stressed about it. Like, that's you cannot think about it twice. That's how when we talking earlier before we got on camera, that I said that I had just stopped working in December. But it's just like God have his hand on it, so I can't be worried about what happened tomorrow. I just got to be worried about and focus on today. So I just feel like that is so powerful, and I'm so glad that your first brunch went well. I was so sorry I wasn't able to make it.
Okay.
But I'm not missing the next one.
Yes. Don't miss the next one. It's going to be amazing.
It's just going to get better and better.
Every year.
So I wanted to ask, tell us a little bit behind what inspired you to have the women's conference.
The same thing that inspired the brand inspired the brunch. Now, you saying conference, and that's so crazy to me because everybody at the brunch was like, this needs to be more than a one-day thing. So maybe a conference is in our future, but originally it was just a one-day brunch. It was an all-day event. We had panel speakers, we had workshops and things of that nature. But what inspired it again was the coming together of like-minded women. Because what happens is we go to these women empowerment events and we don't get nothing out of them. And I did not want that. I wanted women to really come in a room, don't feel like they gotta do nothing. Like I had a nice outfit on, but I was walking around with no heels on, with Crocs on, just making people know that like you can come as your authentic self. One thing about me in doing this journey and doing this business, I noticed that BS is not gonna work. People see through it and they don't connect with anything that's not authentic. So what inspired me again was the community of like-minded women and actually developing something where you can walk away feeling better.
I love that. I really have had trouble like in the past, like when I went to conferences and stuff like that, I feel so disconnected. Like I was just sitting there on my phone. I was like, what am I getting out of this? But over the last year, just last year, honestly, was the first time where, you know, like I feel so connected and like stepping outside of yourself as far as like putting yourself out there. That was the first time I was putting myself out there, and I would feel like it was so scary to do it, but like I've made so many great connections just by stepping out on faith. Because it's just like, at first I would be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I don't know anybody. You know, like I wouldn't even go by myself. But once I feel like once I started going by myself, that's when I really got the information. That's when it really started instilling in me, versus like when I go with somebody, I'm like talking to them, or I'm just you know, like, okay, when is this over, or I'm leaving early. But like now I've been staying the entire events because they really like resonate with me. I'm really learning something from that experience. So I'm so glad that you like put that into perspective. Like I want somebody to walk out and know that this is it, you know, like this is the one. This is gonna be the one, because you never know, like when they walk out that door, how you just change their life just by that one interpretation of like, I can do this. I can do it. It's possible. So I really love that. And I wanted to say we'll be right back after a short break, you guys.
Have you picked up your copy of Why Her Not Me? It is available now on Amazon and also on loveisbeautyprogram.com. Again, that is on Amazon or loveisbeautyprogram.com. Back to the show.
All right, you guys, we're back. So the next thing we're gonna, since we've been talking about a bunch of different questions, we're gonna go to some topics. And I wanted to talk about first healing. Like, what does healing look like for you?
Oh man, healing is a journey. It's ugly, it's pretty, it's hard. Healing is your journey to becoming a better version of yourself by identifying your traumas. What got you down in the first place? Just a transparent moment for myself. What initially started like a major depressing period for me was I met this guy. I thought he was the best guy ever. And he ghosted me. I have never in my life been ghosted before. I didn't know what that felt like. And prior to meeting him, I was in a 6-year relationship that was no good. So when I met this guy, he was a fresh individual, new guy, everything is going good. And then he ghosted me. And I just went in a downward spiral. And a lot of people initially think that, oh, you got down for a guy?
Yeah.
No. I got down for a lot of different things. I also have trauma with my father. I have trauma with my parents as far as them divorcing. So relationships have always been like a touchy topic for me. And then when you go through something like that, you start to relive all of that trauma. So when people come to a therapist or when people talk to their friends and say, you know, it started with a man. No, it never really started with a man. You always have underlying trauma. So healing to me is identifying that trauma, sitting in what hurts the most and doing your best to cope with it and heal it. Yeah. For lack of a better word. Yeah.
To be transparent as well, like that actually happened to me last year. I was talking to this guy. We had dated before, but I had been in a relationship for like 6 years, so you know, like we had moved along. So me and him started back talking, and you know, things were good. And then like all of a sudden, like in an instance of a moment, I was like, it's like I healed from you and then I had to heal from you again. Like, I think that was more so like what got me. It was like, it wasn't even that he ghosted me. It was just the principle of like, I literally already healed from you. And to be back in a space of having to heal from you again means that I didn't heal all the way the first time. Yeah. So I was really in a weird space. Like, I was just like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel, you know, like so upset about it? Like, it's like you shouldn't expect something new about somebody who done it before, like in a different way, maybe. But I just feel like healing has been, I don't know, it's been so up and down for me. It's been like, sometimes I'm like good, I'm happy, I'm engaged, I'm like just real, not literally engaged, but just like but I just mean like engaged with myself, in tune with myself, you know, in tune with what I have going on. But then there is a moment where I'm just like, I just feel, I don't know, just a sense of like nothing, like where I don't feel like I'm doing anything right. Like I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. I don't know what's going right, and I'm just like, dang, when does it you know, get better? And I just realized like I just have to sit in that, because sometimes it's okay to not be okay. Absolutely. And I know that at some point it was always like, I felt like I should always be okay. I should always be good. I shouldn't have down moments. I shouldn't have weakness moments. And I think that was just something that I had to learn from my own trauma of like feeling like I always gotta be okay. Like I always have to be okay for everybody else, but I don't want to be okay for myself. And I just felt like that was such a healing and trying time for me, was just like getting to know myself, knowing what healing looks like for me. And it can't look like what it looks like for somebody else. Like my healing journey has continuously, you know, kept going over the years, but I feel like it's a never ending journey.
Yeah, it really is. And then when you experience something like ghosting, it's the lack of closure can psychologically mess you up. Yes. Because you're like, if you just tell me something, no matter if that something is terrible, right? If that something is you got a wife, if that something is you got a baby, like, okay, yeah, that's something. Right. But when you leave a person with nothing, like all they have is their thoughts. Right. All they have is the what ifs, the this. And then because there's no closure on the other person's end, you do nothing but reverse it on you. I'm the problem. Right. I'm the issue. Yeah. So I had to get out of that. But what I will say is, in the healing produces some of the best things. Some of my most trying times produce the best decisions. Right. Produce the most. And it's decisions that you're not even aware of. Like, right, true. When I was depressed, I moved to Atlanta for a job that I didn't even want to take. Right. Didn't want to take it. I'm like, I don't want to be here. But I did it, and it was one of the best decisions that I could have ever made. Depressed, got into a car accident, got a new car. Right. It's terrible things that happen, but when you're going through things, stuff start to align, and you have no dealing of it like on your own, but like God is really like driving.
Yeah,
He's really taking control. So I just let him do his thing. I'm like, I don't know why you had to do me like that, but if that's how you had to do me, okay.
Or why even have to have like all that intrigue?
Exactly. Why? Like, if you wanted me to have this car, you had to put me in the accident. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted me to move to Atlanta, you had to let this man break my heart. You couldn't just place it on me another way.
Right.
I don't know. He's a very comedic guy. Sometimes I feel like it's not funny all the time, but
right. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. You
gotta
laugh so you don't cry.
Exactly. Okay.
So the next topic I wanted to talk about was elevating.
Okay.
Like, what does elevation look like to you, like for yourself?
For myself, and I really had to think about what that is, because I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to be like, I need this by this, I need this by that, this by that. I'm supposed to be married with a baby and a house.
Right.
In my mind, if I was going through my timeline. So when I realized, like, I can't even do that. I can't put all that pressure on myself, because it was to the point where I graduated from grad school and I was literally walking across the stage like in tears, not of joy, but like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Like, I don't know. I felt like a failure even in my accomplishments.
Right.
So elevating to me is literally taking baby steps to get to one step higher. Just, okay, I got a logo.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I got an Instagram page. All right. Okay, I'm getting a website. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just little baby steps to get you closer to whatever your goal is. If your goal is home ownership, okay, I paid this loan off. Okay, I talked to a real estate agent. Whatever. Just little steps day by day to get me to the ultimate goal.
I love that, because I think my way of elevation has definitely been all about like just how can I elevate my mind, my body, and spirit. I put all of them, and I'm like, if I can do all three of those things each day, no matter if it's small or big, then I did some elevation today. And I just feel like that's what I've been doing, especially like, I know a lot of people say new year, new me, but it wasn't like new year, new me. Is new elevating me, not new me, new level. Like, it just new me, new level of myself. Like, just taking it up a notch. And I just feel like what my elevation has been is like, okay, how do I contribute to my body and spirit? So like, it's like, okay, well, I'll break it down every day. Okay, I'm gonna pray. Yeah, I gotta pray every day. Not some days when life good, life great, like not even just when it's bad, just in general, just pray. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, that's my spirit, but now I got to contribute to my soul. What makes me thrive? So I'm like, okay, well, I need to create a video. I need to do something, but it's soothing my soul. So I'm like, okay, I did that. But then I'm just like, everything that's purpose driven, all in those three, is just like how I contribute every day to elevation, instead of just being like, okay, I'm going to just go through the day and just not do nothing. So I'm just like, if I got those three things, then I'm good. Yeah, I feel good. I feel accomplished. So then I'm elevating because I feel accomplished. Yeah. Like I did something for the day. So. Yeah.
And I always tell people, like, people be like, new year, new me. I always go into the year, like, new year, new life. Like, I don't want my life to look the same each year. Whether that means that I got a new job, whether that means that I made a little job go, right? Whether that means I got, new acquaintances, new businesses. I always ask God to place my name in rooms that I have not yet entered. So whatever that looks like for me, that's what I'm trying to be. Right. So I like that. I like that you attack each thing. You attack your mind, body, and soul. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I just feel like those are like my top threes, like how I contribute to that. And like with my body, I've just been like working out. Yeah, me too. Like the workout, or just even meditation or yoga, like that's really contributing to my body. Because I'm like, okay, how do I elevate my body to a new level that I haven't before? Because it's like, it was a point where I was working out often, but I wasn't doing it consistently. But now if I'm doing it every day and I'm contributing to my mind, body, and spirit every day, then I'm like, okay, I ain't did that, so I need to go work out. So that's how I put it into my mind, instead of being like, oh, it's another day, I gotta work out, my body's sore. Like, you know, I don't think about it like that. And my body has has actually not been rejecting me as much as I used to, because I think in my mind I would keep telling myself like, you're hurt, you know, you got to sit down, take a break, instead of like, how do I contribute to my body today?
Yeah.
Instead of just changing my approach on how I say it, instead of like making it seem like it's hurting me more than it's helping me.
Right.
So, I love it. So last topic I wanted to talk about is productivity. Like, how do you see yourself as having a productive day or productivity?
Okay, so productive day, being in the mental health field, I am pretty much the keeper of my own schedule.
Okay.
So I prioritize my job, of course, but I also make sure that I incorporate things for her and myself within the day.
Okay.
So at the top of my day, I always, address what needs to be done at the VA, things like that. And then in the middle of the day, I also work out as well. And I prioritize small things. So like making a post on social media, reaching out to a vendor or contact. And then I prioritize myself towards the end of the day, which may not be good, but I do that by maybe making sure I have a good meal, making sure that I am communicating with friends and family, because sometimes when you are so busy, you neglect your village, and I never want to neglect my village, because those are the people who going to ride for me when I can't ride for myself sometimes. So I always check in with the people I need to check in, and like you said, I pray, but I pray throughout the day. Like in the morning, I'm praying. I do this thing called acts. So I'll write a letter to God. Like I'll affirm Him. I will confess to Him. I'll give thanks to Him, and then I'll ask Him for the things that I need at the bottom. And when I write that love letter to Him, I'm literally praying that letter all day long. Like, okay, God, you're an awesome God. You're an amazing God. Okay, God, I need you to show up here. Okay, God, it's the end of the day, and this is how my day went. This is where I fell short at, but, I hope you're still proud of me, whatever. But productivity is relative to what it is that you want to target for the day. So if my goal is to be active and involved in my patients that day, then my focus is going to be the VA for the whole day.
Right.
And then in the evening, I might want to be active and involved with her. I typically do her stuff in the middle of the day or at night, because I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
I will stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning making content and things like that. And then I post. But for me, I have to stay organized with a planner and a calendar. If it's not on the planner, then I can't do it.
Right.
If it's not something that I can fit in and give it my all, then I can't do it. Because I don't like to feel rushed.
Me too.
And I like to show up places early, as you can see, because I like to know what I'm getting into.
Too.
Because if my spirit say, this is not for you, I will gracefully leave the building. So that is how I try to stay productive. I try to stay organized and pick what it is that I want to attack for the day.
I love that. I love that you said organization, because that's been my main, like my priority is like staying organized. Like how do I tackle the day, like knowing what I have to do. Like I even registered that in my mind. Even though I wrote it down, I also registered it in my mind. Like, okay, I have to meet at 11, so I need to have this, and this done before that time, because if I'm in that time frame, then I'm behind. And I like to stay on top of that. And when I'm not, I'm like, I'm stressed. My anxiety is at an all-time high. Like it'd be like, okay, get this done. Like I be like moving so fast. Like if you would have seen me, like I was running back and forth here to like get the stuff done. But like that's just me telling myself like, you are a timely person. Like you know your time frame and stuff like that. So that's always been important to me as well. But productivity looks like, for me, it's like how I do it is like, okay, well, I kind of break it down. I literally learned that I have to break it down instead of like trying to put everything in the day. So I'm like, okay, if I need to do like reels and TikToks, okay, let me put that, or write it down what all I'm about to do on there, so I know exactly what I'm about to do, instead of me like get in the front of the camera like and I've done that before, like being like, okay, well maybe I'm gonna go through TikToks and Reels and see what, but I'm like, I want to be my own creator. So I want to be my own, like I want to be in my mind of like what I want to create, and stop being like, okay, well I seen somebody else do this. No.
Right.
Let me do what I want to do and not what somebody else want me to do. That's how I feel more productive, because I interpreted what I needed to do, not what somebody else I see. So I've just been doing that as productivity is just taking on the day and learning that like I have to micromanage of how I take on the day. Like, because with me not working but I still doing Instacart, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, this part of the day I can do Instacart, and then this half of the day, this is when I do all my stuff, all things, content, whatever I need to get done, send emails, whatever I need to do. That is when I'm doing that. So that's how I make myself be productive.
I like it.
So we talked about a lot of different topics, and I just want to kind of end off on what is one quote that you live by?
Oh my goodness, I have so many quotes that I live by. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I live by the most, and that's this scripture, and it's Matthew 7:7, and it says, continue to ask and God will give, continue to knock, and continue to ask, God will give, continue to search and you will find, continue to knock and the door will be open. And that resonated with me because I stumbled upon that scripture like in a dark time, and I feel like sometimes we give up on ourselves, and that scripture is basically saying like, don't stop knocking, don't stop looking, because I'm going to grant it to you. I'm going to give it to you. So that's what I live by. Like, no matter how hard it may seem, don't stop knocking. No matter how hard it may seem, like, keep pushing, keep going.
My quote, oh goodness, there's so many I live by as well. I got so many, like, you know, like my grandmother, or just like in general of like just learning so much more about myself is what do I contribute to myself. Oh god, it's so many I live by, but I think one of the main ones is like, and it's just a simple one, trust God. Like, period. That's the one that I feel like I struggle with the most, but I have learned to not struggle with that so much. Like, I'm learning that, like, just praying more, just being more in tune with God on my own versus like somebody else telling me like, you should pray, you should, you know, give it to God and stuff like that. It's more so like I got more connected with God on my own personal self instead of like what I see other people doing. So I just kind of like, that's why I say that's the one that I live by, is just trust God, because there have been times where I know that it was a trying time for me, but I know God was always there. So I just feel like trust God is my primary one. Like, that's the one I have to live by. Especially just moving forward in life. I just live by that quote. So the last segment is you're going to talk to yourself 6 months from now. So you get your phone and you just kind of talk to you. You can do a FaceTime call, or you can do a or a phone call. Either one, you can talk to yourself on the phone, or like you're FaceTiming yourself and you talk to yourself 6 months from now.
Okay, so I'm going to do the FaceTime.
Okay.
All right. I don't have the FaceTime, really.
Oh, no.
Okay. So basically, I just want to say to myself, 6 months from now, you are going to be very much living in your purpose still. You're going to be in rooms that you don't even know how you got in those rooms. And you're going to be prepared for the blessings that God has coming your way. H.E.R is going to take off in a major way, and you're going to impact so many women in a positive way. You are going to have promotion and increase in your career, promotion and increase in your business, and promotion and increase within your network of people. So in the next 6 months, I say remain humble, grind gracefully, because just know that in your grind, God's got you, so you don't have to do but so much. And girl, the world is yours. In next 6 months, you're going to alter the duration and alter the trajectory of your whole life and the life of generations to come.
Yes, y'all, that was good. Like, that was so good. I think that I love that you always put God in it. I love that.
Yeah, I really do have to. And I know that people think sometimes that it's like so extra, like, you know, I have to like say his name out there because I know that this would not be without him. I know I wouldn't be without him, because when I tell you a dark place, y'all don't even know.
Right.
So, I gotta say his name when I can say his name. I'm
broadcast women all around the world. I love to show off like everyday women. I don't like to just be like, okay, all entrepreneurs, because it's like we have to realize, just like we talked about in private, that like, you know, the grind before you get to just full-blown entrepreneurship, it starts with sometimes the 9 to 5, the Instacarts, the DoorDash, or whatever it is that you're doing to contribute to your business. And I just love to highlight women who put themselves out there regardless of people being like, okay, well, how's she getting there? But she's supplying her needs through her job. And it's just like, I want to be able to showcase that, because a lot of times people don't want to say that. Sometimes they want to non-disclosure. It's just like, no, we want to talk about that, because we want to normalize that, you know, it starts with one step to get to the next step, instead of like showing you the next step. Be like, oh wait, how did you even get there? So
yes, normalize Tory Burch and Michael Kors over Gucci and Chanel. Like,